Now this is a Rolls-Royce Phantom. It's got a whacking great V12 engine. When it comes to cars, you really can't get anything better than this. But it's 38 degrees out, London's having a heat wave, and that's why we're shifting to this. This is Rolls-Royce's very first electric car. It's the Spectre, and that's what we're going to look at today. Buy or sell your car now with CarBuyer Singapore. And remember to check out the latest automotive content with us. So what is the Rolls-Royce Spectre? Well, it's the brand's first EV and it's entering the electric era in electrifying style, because this is what Rolls-Royce calls an electric super coupe. So it calls this car a spiritual successor to the Phantom coupe, which was kind of a car that was in a class of its own. Really big, huge, luxurious coupe, 2 doors only, not like the Phantom sedan. Now everybody I ask at Rolls-Royce says this car has been designed as a Rolls-Royce first and an EV second. Now if any other company said that, you would accuse them of being a little bit arrogant, but it's Rolls-Royce we're talking about here. And when you look at the car, well, I mean, it's camouflage, but yes, the broad strokes are there. It looks like a Rolls-Royce first, not an EV. Now we said that this is a coupe, so if you look to the side of the car, the silhouette, very elegant. You see the rake of the A-pillars going all the way back to an elegant sweep of the back of the roof. Now this car also has one of the biggest battery packs that the BMW group makes. We will talk to the technical experts about that in a little bit, but just take in the sight of the Spectre. And one more thing that you should notice right here is that these wheels are freaking huge. They're 23-inch wheels, and Rolls-Royce tells us that the last car to have 23-inch wheels from the factory was the 1926 Bugatti Atlantic. So there you go, big wheels, big ambition. So what's really interesting about this car, and the reason that it's all wrapped up in the quote by Charles Rolls, is the fact that this car is at a very early stage of its development, and Rolls-Royce has kindly invited us to take a look at the car, to experience it at this early stage and tell you what we think about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for a ride in the car, both around the roads around Provence and at Miramar test track, and then we're going to see if the first electric Rolls is really a Rolls-Royce first and an electric car second. So we've just had our passenger experience with Jörg Winder driving. We went through mountain roads, a little bit of the town, Saint-Rémy, and well, what sticks out? Although I look excited, it wasn't actually like a crazy ride. It was very, very tranquil actually. What really stood out for me was the almost total lack of noise. Now this car, as I said, is running 23-inch wheels, absolutely massive, but there's none of that tire roar, that mid-range, when you're going over bad surfaces. It is really, really quiet. And if I hadn't been talking to Jörg all the way, I probably would have fallen asleep easily. Spectre will be the first fully electric Rolls-Royce, and it kicks off a transition to full electrification. By 2030, every Rolls-Royce will be electric. How and why is this going to happen? We asked the man in charge. So I have with me CEO of Rolls-Royce, Mr. Torsten Müller-Ötvös. Thank you for talking to me at all. So I'm going to ask you, why a coupe for your first EV, you know?
Very good question. I can tell you the reason. It is because this is a fundamental historic moment for us to go electric. And I mean, it harks back to a promise made by Charles Rolls in 1900 that this electric propulsion is ideal for a car once public charging and charging is available. So what we are doing now is, over 100 years later, we are fulfilling Charles Rolls' prophecy, and that gives this moment in time such a historical dimension for the brand Rolls-Royce motor cars. And we thought, together with our designers, engineering team, that we need to do something that is also emotionally spectacular enough to deserve to be the car that marks that very moment in time. And that's why we decided for that idea of a super coupe, a coupe that harks back to the Phantom coupe at times, and something that is really emotionally a spectacular car.
So you're going for shock and bang almost, yeah.
Right, that's our intention. Emotions, yeah, and I think very important, and I think that car will deliver on that, I'm pretty sure.
Cool. So this is the first car on the step towards full electrification for Rolls-Royce by 2030. So in between, what are we going to see? Are we going to see plug-in hybrids at all, or just go straight to electric the whole way?
Yeah, it is, as you say, we've decided that we would go from combustion 12-cylinder engines right into electric-only propulsion for very good reasons. Our clients aren't using cars for long distance commuting. We know that electric propulsion, also feedback from clients, fits perfect to the brand. It's silent, it's talky, it delivers this waftability. So it is the ideal proposition for the brand, and it's also future-proof. And I think that made us think to say we can directly go from combustion into electric, and we're gonna skip any hybrid models. Also knowing that we are a fairly small company and need to think twice, where do we invest in which technology are we investing? So the decision is right, we go straight into electric, and by 2030, step by step, the entire model range will be fully electrified.
Right, so you heard it from Torsten himself, fully electrified by 2030. Very ambitious and impressive target from Rolls-Royce. So thanks, Torsten. So I just had a passenger experience with Jörg in the Rolls-Royce Spectre. Now, what impressed me really was just acceleration, just powerful, silent, quiet. And I asked him how fast we were going down that little main straight. It felt like 90 to me, but he said 150. So that very Rolls-Royce thing about not being scared while in the car. I think, you know, even a guy like Julian could drive this car and it wouldn't feel like making the seat a little bit brown. But what really impressed me was the fact that I asked them, they're only about 40% through the development process of Spectre, only about 6 months in. So this car has in total 2.5 million kilometers of testing left to go, or 400 years of simulated use. Now that is really impressive, something you would expect from a Rolls-Royce, a car that would last you maybe more than one lifetime. Spectre also debuts a digitalized way of making cars, one that Rolls-Royce says will make for a higher definition of the Rolls-Royce driving experience. And we find out how that's going to happen by talking to Dr. Miha Ayubi, Rolls-Royce's head of engineering. So Miha, this is a totally new car, totally new platform, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So can you tell me more about the platform? And it's bespoke for EVs, Rolls-Royce EVs.
Exactly. So actually we have the architecture, so-called architecture of luxury. And this architecture enabled us to create an entirely new body, car body. And this was necessary to bespoke the power pack into the car. We had the entirely new drivetrain inside. We replaced the V12. And finally, we needed also to introduce the entirely backbone, the electric one.
Right. So the electrical drivetrain is actually designed in partnership with BMW, the basis being their 5th generation electric drive tech, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so could you tell me more about that?
Yeah, when it comes to the technology, of an electric drivetrain, you have to select your partner according to some KPIs. We are not talking only about range, we are not talking about acceleration, we are also talking about life maintenance, we are talking about quality, we are talking about safety issues, but we are also talking about the ability to keep this battery up to date always. And at this point of view, you need to find a partner who is at very high level to deliver all those requests. And actually, in fact, the partners, the engineers with BMW succeeded to deliver a highly sophisticated technology which we could develop with them and adopt for the Rolls-Royce. So we've selected the largest power pack in this generation and adopted to our car, and afterwards we skinned the functionalities to fit with the Rolls-Royce demands.
So the thing to keep in mind with this car is that it's only 40% done. So the ride quality is really good, and I actually would put it on par, close to maybe the Phantom, which I sat in before this, as you saw. So, you know, it's 40% done, but kind of feels almost on the same level as the current ICE car. So very, very impressive work from the Rolls-Royce team, and I can't wait to see what this car will be like at 100%.